We're live. Right. Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I've got the TV on too to see if it's going to work. No. Oh, there it goes. Maybe.
Perfect.
Oh, it's showing an ad. 3 cents. Boom. So it looks like there's only nobody on. Just us.
All right.
My TV. They'll pop on or they won't.
I'm sure David and Chris will hop on at some point.
Oh, they better. I'm going to text them right now.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Look at that. We'll probably have one. Anyway. Oh, now we're down to 0. We're on none. I don't know. So, well, I prepared no questions because I don't know if you've seen the videos. We don't prepare.
Shoot from the hip, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do it.
So I thought we'd just kind of talk about how you got, what got you into cars and then how you ended up with a race car, really. Because I mean, it seems like people start off with a muscle car or hot rod, and next thing you know, slowly work their way to a race car.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of jumped into it head first a little bit, but I guess I don't really know what got me into cars. I mean, I grew up on dirt bikes and snowmobiles, and by the time I was 11 or 12, I kind of had to just learn to keep them running on my own. I was doing top end rebuilds on 2-stroke dirt bikes. When I was 12 years old, I started rebuilding my own suspension at 14. Just because we didn't really have a lot of money to do that. And by the time I was in middle school, I kind of had to fund it myself. So when I was in middle school and high school, I actually parted out snowmobiles. That's how I made a living. Well, pulling snowmobiles completely apart gives you a good idea on how to fix them. And then when I got my license, it just kind of snowballed. Us that started out with, Honda Civics that were lowered and had loud exhaust on them. After high school, I was always into the old cars, but I kind of grew up in the generation where the old cars were starting to get unobtainable for cheap. My dad unfortunately passed away in 2011, and my sister and I split his 401k, so we both got like 25 grand. Well, I said, well, I'm getting into old cars now, and I was pretty ambitious but didn't have the knowledge. I think I was 19 and said, I'm going to start a hot rod shop. Yes. It kind of just turned into me buying project cars to flip, and half of them I lost money on. I remember I bought a 49 Ford for like $2,500. That was super, super nice. And I just cleaned it and I listed it for sale, and I think I sold it for like $2,000. So I just started losing money. Buddy and I, we started building choppers out of metric motorcycles. So Yamaha XS650s, Kawasaki KZ750s, Honda 750s, so on and so forth. And that kind of got me started in a little bit of fabricating. We were fabricating our own rigid frames, the tail sections, and they probably weren't the prettiest, but we were learning. We were learning on cheap bikes. Then I got a really good deal on a 70 Pontiac Le Mans, and that's what got me hooked on muscle cars. And I daily drove that car for like a year. I mean, I drove it in the winter and everything. Yeah, it just snowballed from there. I had a buddy that got really big into the turbo LS stuff, and I thought, and I went for a ride in his car once, and I think it was turned up a little bit. It probably made 850, 900 horsepower, and I was addicted at that. So That's kind of how the Mustang came about. Was that?
Okay.
So kind of a short, sweet, to the point. I really, aside from my buddies, and I got a couple uncles that are interested in cars, but my dad wasn't into cars. My stepdad wasn't into cars. It was really just friends, and we all just kind of started liking one thing, and we all kind of shifted into something else a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you how I got started. It was it was cheap. I bought my first car. I could actually, if you come up here, I can actually take you to where I bought it from. And I had it was my 66 Barracuda. My dad always had old cars, well, because, when I was getting ready to drive in 91, old cars were, 20, 30 years old. They were just cars,
It was like heavy Lumina today for 900.
Yep. I mean, I bought that Barracuda for $500. I had to get the okay to take money out of my savings account, and my dad put $150 down to hold this thing. It was behind a wood pile; you couldn't even see it from the road.
Yep.
It was full of like wood chips and bark. They used it to haul wood from the pile to the house, and I had. I remember it took me all about 5 seconds to want my money back. But I had it for 21 years, and and then, Melissa and I got married and didn't have the money to fix it again. And so we had to let it go. We didn't have to, but it was better for the car to let it go than it was to let it rot, because I had already let it sit forever. Hey, a Diecast Dreams Custom. You should talk to this guy about having him make you a model of your race car. He'll take because he did Bonnie and Clyde for us.
That would be super cool, actually. I would like that.
Yeah, I can send you his number. Hey, Vic, is that cool if I send your number to Casey? He's even doing. He's working with Greasy's about doing that Project America truck.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll send you pictures of Bonnie and Clyde too, so you can see how they did.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually, because according to my wife, I can never sell this car, so I might as well have some cool stuff to keep her.
Well, from the text not that long ago, you were ready to start it on fire.
Was actually last week. I told her I'm pulling the motor and tranny out of it, pulling the electronics off of it, and selling it as a roller with a turbo kit and a fuel system in it. And it's just part of the deal, I mean, it's still broken.
Yep.
Just, we're having a baby in 2 months, and I've been just busting ass on remodeling the house. So baby room is pretty much done. When we're done here, I have to go upstairs and finish putting the dresser together, and then we got to order a crib, and it's just the preparation of it all. So I haven't really had a chance to work on the car much. All I got to do is pull a cylinder head off, put a head gasket in it, and I got to swap all my stuff from that cylinder head to one of my spares and put it on. I mean, it's like 2 hours of the work. I just don't have time. But that car, I think, is going to stay a street car. I decided I am going to build a full-on small tire car. So it'll be steel roof and quarters. It'll be Lexan windows, the whole I know David and I have talked about doing a trade with that F100 for a Camaro that he's got, and that would be a good candidate for that. Otherwise, maybe a body Mustang, even though you see 18 of them in small tire class, but they work. So
okay,
kind of why.
Yeah, looks like Neverboard S10 can't sell his either.
That's a good problem to have. I'm just glad that my wife isn't not down my throat to sell it versus not letting me sell it. I would say it's a good problem to have. So she's actually kind of all in now. She wants me to get a motorhome so that we can, have the baby with us on the weekends and stuff like that. So I'm pretty blessed in that department.
That's cool. I remember when before Peyton came. Well, actually, we started remodeling the basement because we were planning on having a baby, and then we no more than started on the basement, and Melissa said that she was pregnant. So Ben and I spent an entire summer in the in the basement. We added a bathroom, and we moved a bedroom. We cut an egress window in, and it took all summer, but we did it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, luckily my house is pretty small. I mean, it's basically a lake cabin is all it is. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Actually, the garage and my bar are on the main level, and you have to go upstairs to go to the living area.
Okay.
2-bedroom, 1 bath. I mean, it's pretty simple. And like I said, when I bought it, it needed a lot of stuff. Flooring, paint, a lot of piddly things, and then now the baby room. So, because of the size of the house, it's not that bad. It's not like I'm remodeling a 3,000 square foot house by any means, but it's still a lot of time, especially when you're doing it yourself. Josh, he helped me out with the flooring over the weekend. So other than that, it's pretty much just me doing it, but it's not the end of the world.
That floor you put down was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. What's that pattern called?
It's called African Dark Wood.
It's awesome.
And Josh, actually, when he owned this house, he did the living room, the hallway, and our bedroom in it. And then kitchen I did in that same pattern, and then now the baby room. So the whole house is that, aside from the stairs getting up and bathroom. That's it. So
we when we bought this place, we downsized 600 square feet. And then I had a detached garage, and I lost 9 feet of length. So I had to I could have parked 4 cars in that one, but now here I can get 3 in. But now that I got that frame and then that sedan body, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my Roadster, if I'm going to try to cram it in there, or my mother-in-law said I could drive it over there and put it in their garage where they go Arizona. But I don't know. I think Bonnie probably gets scared if I left her, put her over there. Yeah. And now, well, I thought I was having problems with the alternator, but come to find out that Bonnie's just overworking that thing. So I don't know. I'm going to have to disconnect some. I have an electric fan, electric fuel pump, of course. And then when they built the car, they built it so when you start, the license plate comes down like this, and then an electric motor holds it. So it's running all the time. So when you shut it off, it goes back up. So I need to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help.
It's just too much draw.
Yep. And the thing is, it's not all the time either. I mean, there's times when we've ripped around in it and it's been just fine. And then this one, I drove it home from Cars and Caffeine the day of the races, dead battery as soon as I shut it off. I didn't curse. I have a bigger alternator. Can you see when I'm popping those things, can you see that? Buy a bigger alternator. I have one. I got one that was a 100 amp. I'm changing out an 80 amp. I'm going to swap it. Yeah. Maybe I should just sell the car.
I would just ixnay that whole license plate deal altogether.
Yeah.
Back in the day, self-tapper a license plate onto the deck lid and call it a day.
Oh, believe me. Oh, hey, Mofo Driver just subbed your channel, Casey.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Or ma'am, I guess. I can't
judge
these days.
He's a dude. Oh, Vic is heading out. Have a good time at No Name Nationals. Hopefully Stone Soup doesn't fall on its face.
Where is No Name Nationals this year?
I thought it was in Missouri.
Yeah, I got invited to it last year, but the car just wasn't done yet. It was like right before my wedding.
Yeah.
We had too much stuff going on with that. That was the first year of my YouTube channel. Actually, last year was the first full year of it.
Okay.
At November of 22, I think.
I got asked if I was going, and I went like this. I was like, "Well, what is it?" Because I didn't have any idea at the time. Oh, yeah. It's in Sikeston, Missouri.
Okay.
Sikeston, Missouri.
I'd like to do that probably next year. I don't even know what the classes are. I'd have to watch videos of it, but
yeah, I watched videos from it last year. But I haven't, really made it a priority to get down there either. Mm-hmm. But David from Classic Car Revivals was asking who Neverboard S10 addict was, and I said just go subscribe because he's got S10 pickups. I think he's at like 32 of them or something. I don't know, 3 maybe. But Neverboard, don't you have a race truck?
We like race trucks. David loves race S10s.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Because David just put that 900 cubic inch motor in his S10.
It's a 481X Proline motor.
Is that what it is?
I think you have him a good deal on it. I think he only paid like $140,000 for it or something like that.
Oh yeah, see, he's got a white one. He's got a white race truck in a 4-wheel drive. You've been working on that 4-wheel drive one lately. The videos I've seen. Oh, and hey, Neverboard, David just subbed you.
That's one thing I really want to do. I used to have a few back in the day, like the first generation S10, just regular cab short boxes with a 350 in them. You used to be able to buy them $1,000 and drive them home. And that's what I want to get back into again. It's just the cheap beater V8 S10s to do burnouts in.
Yeah. I had one of my favorite rigs I had an 88 S10. Had a 2.8 and a 5-speed. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, that thing started all the time. It got decent mileage, and the 4-wheel drive was good. I mean,
no.
And I think I got it for $3,500 or something. It wasn't much. But
yeah, I had a decent V8 S10 for a couple grand all day.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think that same truck will probably cost you $5,000.
I've been seeing ones that are basically just like 10 grand for something that's decent looking in a picture, this big.
Well, and S10s are starting to come up, man, for a really, really nice one. 2-wheel drive with low miles. Guys are selling them for $8-9 grand all day long. It's crazy.
Oh, I know.
Like a S10 Extreme with 80,000 miles on it. I bet you could get 10 grand for one of them. So actually like 3-4 years ago when I was in the car business, I bought it was an S10 Extreme regular cab with a 4.3 in it, had 42,000 miles on it, and it had a Vortex supercharger on the 4.3.
Wow.
So it was kind of weird. It ran on E85 and had a drag radial on it and stuff, but the truck I sold it in 2 days for like 18 grand or something crazy like that. It was
crazy.
Yeah.
It looks like Neverboard, he's got a 406 in his dirt drag street dune truck, 3rd motor.
So wait, dune truck, does that have long travel on it? Or long travel in it, I guess I should say.
I don't know. I'm sure he'll.
Because that's one thing I've always wanted too, is a pre-runner so I can drive it in the ditch and jump driveways and stuff.
Hey, did you see when I had Truck Norris? I drove that thing through the ditch.
I did not.
I made a short out of driving it through the ditch.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that. But yeah, that's one thing I've always wanted is a really just dirt nasty pre-runner truck that I can jump 30, 40, 50 feet in it.
Oh, it looks like he's an SAS swap with a Dana 30.
Axle swap. That's cool. Kind of a trail truck, yeah.
I want to build that like a jalopy racer, like they do with the Race of Gentlemen.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't want to do a V8. I want to see if I can find myself a flat 6 or that kind of thing. And
you know what I would do? I would keep that 4-cylinder banger motor from that sedan or whatever banger motor that thing came out of.
There's no motor. I got everything, but only the one I was going to send you down to. That was a 256 cylinder.
No, I thought you had a 4-cylinder Model A motor.
Yeah, I did, and that sold with my Sport Coupe.
Okay.
And Josh got the better of the pair, frame wise and that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should almost just build a Trog car out of that sedan, put a banger motor in it.
What am I gonna do with that sweet Bowling Brothers frame?
Well, you could put a banger motor in that thing.
I don't think I could get. I don't think they'd let me race if I decided. Well, look, I looked into the banger class for Bowling Brother, or not Bowling Brothers, but Race of Gentlemen. It's basically like you might get to race. I was like, well,
yeah, they're super picky. I mean, if they see that you have like repop headlights in your car, they're probably going to turn you away.
And then they tell you to take the glass out of the headlights or take the headlights off. Well, yeah. What I should do is I've got that other frame and I've got that Dodge or whatever Roadster body out there. I think I have an extra axle or two laying around too. I know I have a different rear end. Maybe I could just make a banger out of it with stuff I've got laying around.
Mm-hmm. Or just find a runner and driver and strip the fenders and everything off of it.
Well, there's been people who are selling the running gear and everything with no body. Well,
and you could probably get it for $500 because nobody wants it.
It'd be nice. And here he's got another S10 stock 4-banger 5-speed. Ooh.
Yeah, I've seen guys do the 3800 supercharged motors in those. That's actually starting to become a pretty popular swap. I've seen them in S10s, and I've seen a lot of Fieros with them, with a 5-speed.
Really?
I've seen a lot of Fieros that are done up with the 800. They rip too. Those 30 are a badass motor.
Well, they don't seem to die ever.
Yeah, you just got to keep intake gaskets in them. That's really the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take much to put intake gaskets in one of them.
No.
So it's a lot easier than putting a head gasket in a 5.3, and that still only takes an hour and a half or 2 hours if you don't have to, swap everything over from one head to another like I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't you have you had a head stud brake, didn't you? Or a head bolt brake?
So when I put the new motor in it, it was just Murphy's Law. I had a buddy that was torquing the one head on, and he was trying to tell me a story at the same time. And he snapped it. Well, I think I know what happened. So when I had the heads off of it, I put the short block in the car, and I put the washers and the nuts on the head studs so that I just had them inventoried so they didn't get lost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I went to put the heads on it, I pulled the washers and the nuts off, and I know exactly what happened to that head. I put the head gasket on it and put the head on, and I guarantee you there's a washer between that head gasket and the deck surface that I forgot to pull off. So stupidest thing I've ever done, but I'm not afraid to admit it. I mean, I do stupid stuff all the time.
I think the stupidest thing I ever done was started blowing money on the hot rods.
Yeah, that's all I've ever done is do stupid stuff. I mean, I've got thousands of dollars wasted on that thing just in parts that I bought and put on it, and they never actually made it to the final build. I've got parts in the back that were bolted on the car at one time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's and which I like to say is stupid because I spent all that money for nothing. It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, and so when because you were planning on going to the Big Fork race.
I went to the Big Fork.
That's right, you did, but you were planning on running it
Yeah.
there. So when you set it up for that, because I saw that surface that when I went there the first time, that thing is rugged.
Yeah. Like
How would you set your car up for? I mean, like a minimum maintenance tar road.
So I know I have a good idea of what I have to do. The first time I was there, so I have a strange single adjustable coilover in the front, and I had a 12-inch tall, 200-pound spring in the front, which is way too heavy for a drag car.
Okay.
After the Big Fork, the first one up in Big Fork, I had zero separation out of the front end, but you want some separation. So I'm sure you saw the video of it. I pulled the struts out and I put a 14-inch, 150-pound spring in the front to make it so it separates a lot better now. My biggest thing is my tires. I've got a Nitto 275 on the back. That's a really good, just basic drag radial tire, but try and have 1,000 horsepower car go down a surface like that, you have to put a slick on it. There's just no way around it. I mean, they make a really, really good drag radial. I think I'm going to go to a Hoosier QuickTime Pro with bias ply, but it's a DOT stamp tire. Well, at the Outlaw Throwdown, their only stipulation for tires is a DOT tire that fits within the size parameters.
That was the one that they just had this past weekend at another airport. That if you look at that surface from above, it looks pretty rugged.
That one's really, really nasty too, I know. So yeah, next year I've got plans. I'm going to do the Hoosier QuickTime Pros on it. That'll help me a lot. I'm going to change out my front suspension. I'm actually going to go to a double adjustable, and I might go down to a 125-pound spring in the front. I'm going to put a tube front on it so that I can get rid of some weight, and I got to put some weight in the back. So I want to get weight off the front, and then whatever weight I pull off the front, say I can pull 100 pounds off, I'm going to put trunk.
Okay.
I'm going to put weight bars in the back, and then just put like 45-pound dumbbells on it until it works how I want it to. I have weight brackets off my rear diff.
Okay.
Bolt weight to the rear axle. So that's my biggest thing. It's a lot of just playing around and then going out on a back road at 3 a.m. to test. That's
sure.
Really all you can do.
And I've heard it run. It's not quiet. So
it's not. Especially now. I've got this thing turned up pretty far now. It's way louder now when the wastegates are open.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's loud just through here.
Yeah. Idling even, and the ethanol burns your eyes. I mean, you can only be in the garage for, it seems like 30 seconds before your eyes start watering from all the ethanol fumes.
Well, when I was trying to get the timer or the carburetor or all of those things with that darn coupe of mine, it would get spicy in there, and I'd have to come out because I was basically almost crying.
Yep.
Because it was just running. And Bill Cameron, he found out how loud the coupe is, and I have the mufflers in it. And he goes, yeah, the video, he goes, you can tell it's loud. He goes, but till you're in it, I mean, you're basically shouting at the person next to you.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can only imagine what it's like in person if it's loud on this little guy.
Well, you should ride in it and see how loud are. Not even the motor, the rear end.
Oh yeah.
I have to be legal in the classes that I want to race in, like the True Street type classes, you have to have full interior from your driver's seats forward.
Okay.
Have my dash shell. It's a gutted dash. I've got all the HVAC stuff pulled out of it. All the framework is pretty much pulled out of it. It's held on by like 4 bolts. I've got a console in it. I've got door panels and I've got seats. So behind the cage is completely wide open. You can see into the trunk if you look behind you.
Okay.
Well, it's got a 390 Pro gear in it, and that rear end is set up super, super tight because that rear end came out of a 2,500 horsepower radial car. So, and it was only a race car, so you set it up super tight. So when you're street driving, the noise from that rear end, it sounds horrible. So I'm actually going to have someone go through that rear end this winter, put a different gear set in it and not set it up quite as tight so I can street drive it a little bit, because it's pretty hard on it to street drive it. But you can barely hear the motor over the noise of that rear end. It sounds it sounds like riding in the 55 Chevy from 2-Lane Blacktop.
Oh, okay.
So I know that you've seen that movie. So do you any kind of inclination of how it is riding in that thing? That's like,
I'll tell you.
The Muncie whine from the rear end.
What's that?
It's the Muncie Rock Crusher whine from the rear end.
I had a 66 Chevy pickup stepside. I bought it just to sell it because the guy who had built it, he's like, I'm over it. I don't want to finish it. And it had an M21 in it, and that thing was pretty loud. But I'll tell you what, the shifting was 1, 2, and then it was like over by the glove compartment. It was just really wide. Neverboard said he's rebuilt his Dana 44 3 times and the transfer case.
Sweet. Well, if you want to help, if you want to rebuild this 8.8 for me, that'd be great.
Just send it to him, Casey.
Different gear set. That's it.
And then he said before that it started when he lost a needle in the engine of his 406.
Hey, did it come out without having to pull the motor out, though? That's what really matters.
Well, I remember the video, like, I'm selling this thing. And then, of course, Whiskey Dents, you serious? he was ready to throw you some cash through the phone.
In our group chat, yeah, that night I actually swore off cars. I was going to sell everything, and I was going to buy a used Honda Accord.
Yeah, you were. And then it was like 15 minutes later, you're like, oh, it's running.
Yeah, it's just stupid stuff, man. That's all it is. And it's all learning, too. I mean, I've never built anything like this. I've never built anything like that. And I did, I had Josh help me with the cage in it. And buddy Kyle helped me wire it. A couple buddies helped me put the motor in it originally. But other than that, I kind of did all of it myself. And it was a lot of Googling and watching YouTube videos to do it. Part of why everybody LS swaps Mustangs. Have to be I just had to have a fast car and figure out how to put it together. So now I have an idea of how they go together, so I can fix that thing along now. But it's a race car at the end of the day. You make 800,000-900,000 horsepower out of a stock bottom end, 5.3 truck motor. That's brake stuff. It is what it is.
Looks like Neverboard said it came out, but he tore it down to check it. And he buffed I'm guessing that's sharp edges.
Ooh, I'll show you something actually. So this is a piston out of my motor that I just blew up. And so I got that motor because it had broke a timing chain and the intake valves hit every piston. So I just wanted the rotating assembly in the block because I was putting a new timing set in it, a cam, everything. So every piston had that nick mark in it.
Well, that's not good.
I took grind and ground the hard edges down. Put like 4,000 or 5,000 hard miles on this motor.
Really?
Pistons out of the block. I did in the motor. I just took my grinder to it, ground them down flush, and just slammed heads on it and head studs and called it a day.
Jeez. You were talking about that night you were swearing off cars and you were going to sell that as a roller. I'll tell you what, the only reason that my darn coupe is still here is because Peyton likes it.
Yep.
And I mean, look, it's a unique car. It had been for sale a couple different times, and the guy wanted my 37 Ford sedan, and so I gave him way too much on a partial trade, and now, and now I've got this thing, and I'll tell you what, it needs to be rewired completely. That the engine's sitting way too far forward, and I've thought about just saving that sedan body, just rolling the sedan body back outside and putting it up on some sawhorses and taking Clyde apart and just
do it right.
Well, as right as I can get it. Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw, I did a short where I was showing the frame rails, and they should be fairly up and down. Well, one is like that, and one kind of goes like this.
Is that?
And I mean, I'm not afraid it's going to break. It's got like almost half-inch steel plate, boxing this thing.
So it is boxed.
Okay. Yeah, and
someone basically just boxed a tweaked frame and put a coupe body on it.
Yep. And I have a straight stock frame, and I thought about, well, why don't I just bring that in there and move it over? But then I thought, well, I've got that super nice frame just hanging out. So,
Bowling Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, Midnight Customs had a 302. Oh, he broke it. Snapped the crank at the rear main.
Hey, was that that would have been a DZ 302 or 302 DZ out of the 60, like the first generation Camaro Z28s.
67 to 9, yeah.
That's a rare motor, unless you build GMCs with a 302 in them. I just always thought that they came in the Z28 Camaros, because I know guys get big bucks for those motors. Well,
I didn't know Bill Cameron had an actual DZ 302 in his Camaro he's got in his shop. That's and we were talking about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I actually have a 302." Like, well, no wonder you don't want to trade me for my coupe. the motor's almost worth as much as that car.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know how much I imagine you got to be able to get 10 grand for one of them. I might be way even. I don't know. I just know that they're worth big bucks.
Yeah. And here we go. It wasn't a true 302. It was just a board 283.
That's still cool though.
Well, yeah.
No, that's still cool.
I still think it was cool that GMC used to put those 305 V6s in their pickups.
The big block V6.
Yeah.
I had a guy that looked at me like I was out of my mind when I was talking about big block V6s.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people.
There, when you see one, you're like, "What?"
Yeah, they got hand pistons and they're about that long.
Yep. There, the first time I ever saw one, all I thought was, "Wait a minute, 2, 3, what?"
Speaking of 6-cylinders, one thing I've been really wanting to do, I've been seeing a few guys do it, the 4.2 liters out of the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Guys have been taking those motors, putting forged rods and pistons in them, putting cams in them, and putting big monster turbos on 85, making 1,000 horsepower.
Jeez.
And I kind of want to buy an old Datsun or like an RX-7 or something like that to build just a basic street car with drag radials on it. And actually put one of them 4.2 liter Trailblazer motors in.
Yeah.
2JZ.
But that thing, that Datsun would weigh what? 1,500 pounds, 1,600 pounds? Have you
A
stripped it all out?
little bit more than that. I have a buddy that had a Datsun that we were doing a small turbo small block Chevy build in, and I think he figured that car with a turbo small block Chev in it, a good interior, and a cage was probably going to weigh like 2,200 pounds, 2,300 pounds, and that was taking a lot of weight out of it.
Okay.
I think stock they weigh like 2,800 or 2,900. They're a car nonetheless. They're sub 3,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked me what they thought my Roadster weighed, and I was like, or what I thought it weighed. I was like, I don't know, 2,000 pounds with me in it, probably.
Yeah.
And that's because of the TCI frame and chassis and all that. And, the full interior with, I will say that the driver's seat with lumbar is pretty darn nice. It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm an old person, so.
I've been asked a bunch how much my car weighs, and I couldn't even tell you. I took a ton of weight out of it, but it's still all steel, all glass. I wanted it that way for a reason, for True Street stuff. I pulled a ton of weight out of the interior by getting rid of HVAC and stuff, but still has power windows.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it weighs 3,000 pounds.
Okay.
And if I'm capable of 1,000 plus horsepower at 3,000 pounds, if I can get it to hook, there's no reason to say I couldn't go a 520 in the eighth.
Yeah.
530 in the eighth. It's just a matter of setting it up right.
Mm-hmm. When you and Classic Car Royals will talk race car, I'm just like, no, I don't have any of that. I have a carburetor that makes me angry.
Yeah. Well, that thing was just supposed to be a basic street car when I bought it, because I took that car on trade when I was in the car business. I gave the guy $700 for it because it was a rat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this thing would be kind of cool to put a 6.0 in with a carburetor and a bunch of nitrous. And it was a stick car, and stick in it and just beat the crap out of it and spray it. Mm-hmm. Pulled the motor out of it, pulled the interior out of it, and it freaking snowballed. It just snowballed from there. All of a sudden, it had a cage in it, and then it had everything in the front end was new. It had manual steering, manual brakes, and at that point, there's no turning back. Mm-hmm. Went from basic street car to a race car that you can drive on the street.
I'm one of the reasons why I haven't started pulling that coupe apart is because it might just snowball. I mean, I've got a bunch, and I can reuse just about every piece and part off of that car. And I can narrow up the rear end because the ones out of a 50 Pontiac, it's way too wide. But then I could I think I run a 285 tire on the back of it, so it doesn't look so goofy. But I'd rather have them like the skinnier ones like I have on my Roadster. I just think they look better. But I have to run something bigger. Other than that, it looks dumb.
You know what you could do too is you could run, a wheel with a good amount of backspace and put a cheater slick on the back. Put a cheater slick on it and put skin.
Yeah. So. And I've got it's funny you say that because I found some 820s. That's what I run on the back of the black one, and I was like, boy, I could just take those. The Firestones I have on there, just take those off and stick the cheater slicks on there. But then I thought, it's not going to help that car. Those back tires on that black car, they don't do anything. I mean, because it weighs nothing, and it's got 400 pound-feet of torque, and it just twists them over. Which, I mean, you can tell where I like if you go around, you'll see where I've been.
That's how it is too. If you go left or right out of my driveway, and I live in a lake neighborhood where we all basically live on top of each other, and our houses are right on the road.
Yep.
My house is, and I got a little bit of a longer driveway, but I mean, we are freaking packed in here, and you can tell everywhere I've been in our neighborhood because I don't care who's outside. I'm still doing burnouts. Yeah. And get that thing on the chip at 7,800, 8,000 RPM.
Yeah.
houses are all right next to each other. You hear it.
I did one out in front of the house. The mark is still there. That was the first burn I'd ever done in Clyde, and my neighbor was outside. I was like, "Hey, just so you know," and he's like, "I'm like, okay," and I just I laid waste to that one tire. The other tire decided not to be good, and then it tried to die about halfway as I was going, and then I just stomped it again, and it picked back up. So that the longer part has washed away, but the good 8 feet of just nice thick rubber is still there.
Mine will not wash away. I mean, the last time I did burnouts in my neighborhood was like April.
They're still there?
Looked like I did them yesterday.
Wow.
Because I got it started in second with wheel speed, and I didn't actually let my foot off the brake until I was on the limiter in second, and I grabbed third.
Okay. What transmission are you running, by the way?
It's got a Rossler level 4 turbo 400 in it.
Okay.
Oh, it's got like it's got an ultra bell on it, the detachable bell housing. It's got a decent converter in it. It's just a Jegs off the shelf converter, but for some reason it just works really good in my car. It does exactly what you want it to do. Yeah, it's reverse manual valve body, has a trans brake, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Rossler transmissions, they're not a cheap transmission, but they're really, really good. So
it's kind of one of those cases you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
For those.
Yeah, like a car like that, a stock turbo 400 isn't gonna last. I think my transmission's good to 1500 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all the right stuff in it that you want. I got a good deal on it though. There's a guy that was parting a car out in Fargo.
Oh.
Bought it off of him. I think I got the tranny for like $2,000 or something like that. New, they're like $7,500.
Oh, geez. I was just gonna ask, what do they go for new?
Oh, at that time, I think they went for like 5,500. But yeah, now they're like $7,500 for that same transmission. It's crazy. So I've always wanted to go to a Power Glide. I probably will in the next car.
Mm-hmm.
And that would get like an aftermarket reed case Power Glide. I just want to have high and low.
Mm-hmm.
Prep surface, it works better because a turbo 400, you're not really supposed to pedal them. If you're here, because you'll roll the sprag, you got to pedal it in third. You can lift your foot off the throttle a little bit if it's spinning, but you can't pull, completely out of your throttle. You got to kind of ease out of it and ease back into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you've always got that going through your mind while you're spinning at 80 miles an hour, and you just want to gather the car up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I want to hurt myself or hurt my tranny? I don't. Oh, where a Power Glide, you can just kind of do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
That car will have a Power Glide in it for sure.
So now, comparing the price, is the Power Glide going to be? Is it less expensive to have one of those, or is it going to be about the same?
Depends. You're usually going to be about the same money. I've found some Power Glides that are $1,000 on Marketplace, but if you want to get the stock Power Glide cases are probably good to, I've been told by numerous people, like 600, 700, 800 horsepower, because the cases are like glass on those things.
Okay.
Aftermarket case. Once you start talking the aftermarket case with an aftermarket bell housing, used one that you still probably have to at least pull apart and check the clutches on.
Mm-hmm.
Probably still going to pay $2,500.
Okay.
Used one, $3,000, and that's probably getting a really good deal. So,
okay.
But that's a big block, so I would want something that would handle, 2,000 plus horsepower. So next car will be a big block for sure. 540 with twin 88 millimeter turbos on methanol. So
and that is that basically going to put you into that 2,000 horsepower that you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would put me into the 2,000 horsepower range.
5 times the horsepower of my Roadster.
Yeah, more than twice the horsepower of that thing.
Wow.
And I still have to learn how to drive. So I mean, I'm talking 2,000 horsepower. I'm not even ready. Nowhere near ready.
Oh, I think Midnight Customs wants to LS swap his his C20 with a 5 or 6 speed now. Look at that. 500 horsepower.
You want to make 500 horsepower, LQ460, cam, valve springs, decent heads, tune it on E85 and put a T56 in it out of a 98 to 02 Camaro with a good club.
Well, there you go, Brandon. Did you write all that down? Hey, it's 615. Hey, how you doing, man? Haven't seen you in a long time. I try to catch your lives, but sometimes I get sleepy. I'm an old person, so I have to go to bed.
Yeah, me too. Now that I'm 30, I love being in bed at like 10:30, 10 o'clock.
Oh man, I was in bed before 9:30 last night. I was just had enough of yesterday.
Yep, I hear it. Yeah, but that's where I do all my editing too. I'll just lay in bed and edit for like 3 hours before I know it. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, well, you know I like to stack up videos. I've got, gosh, what do I have? 4? I think I have 4 ready to go.
Okay.
Oh, see. Oh, look at this. Look at that. They don't run E85 out where he's at.
Oh, because of the altitude, I bet. I got a buddy that lives in Colorado, and they don't have E85 out there either. So he has his car tuned on pump 93. Yeah, E85 is a huge deal around. Or no, I don't know if they have pump 90. He lives in Denver, so something with the altitude where he might even have to have his car on 89 or something like that. I don't know. He would know more about what they have for fuel out there, obviously.
Well, here on pump we can get 91.
Yeah, some BPs you can get 93. Some, but it's rare.
Yeah, and there's one place that you can get. They sell a can like this. It's up by the register. You just pick it up, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it's not cheap. I've seen the sign on it.
Well, I know. God, what does Josh pay? Because Josh has that Maverick that he just put together. It's got a LS-based 408 in it, and he runs 100 octane. So he runs Sunoco 110. He buys a 5-gallon pail of it, and then he buys a 5-gallon can of 91 non-oxy and mixes them together, and that gets him his 100 octane.
Okay, because I want to say that Sunoco is I think that's the brand that it's kind of right down by your knees, right by the cash register. Looks like Neverboard said 93 in Michigan, 91, and then we got. Well, they can get 93 and ethanol free outside of Seattle.
Ethanol free is perfect for motorcycles and snowmobiles, all that kind of stuff. The what do they call that? Non-oxy or something like that.
Yeah. Oh. Someone asked me what I run in my cars. Just regular unleaded.
Paint thinner.
Yeah, I mean, it was whatever.
Yeah.
If I ever did get a banger, I'd try to figure out how to make it run on moonshine, something. Yeah. You're talking about editing, and I was saying that I've got a few that I have stacked up. I got 4, yep. And someone asked me how much time do you spend on editing? I was like, what? What's editing? I'll just shorten up if something's, who wants to watch you going, so I'll shorten that stuff up. But other than that, I just let things go sideways on there. You've seen.
Yeah, and I've been trying to pack more into my videos in less amount of time. I want to get to the point where, obviously financially, you guys got to get there, but I want to get to the point where I can drag an S10 roller home and stuff a small block Chevy in it and be doing burnouts in one video that's 50. That's kind of my end goal. Obviously, I have to have enough money to go out and buy S10s and small block Chevys first.
Yeah, every now and then I go out to the parts depot out there and I just start taking pictures of stuff. I'm like, okay, you've been here long enough. And then I sold out of all of my stuff twice just this past year. And then what do? I just bring it all back.
That's my problem too. And problem is half the stuff that I have around here is junk, or it's so niche. For instance, the billet valve covers that I bought for my car, and it's got dash 10 bungs welded into them, so you can run AN lines going to your catch can and everything. Well, for the average guy doing an LS swap, he's not going to want that.
Right.
So I have them listed for cheap, but how many turbo LS guys is there around me that they're going to drive over to my house and buy them off Marketplace? There's not a lot.
Right.
Also, some of it's just way too niche to really, really get it gone.
Well, I know the when I picked up those slot wheels from when I bought that sedan body, both the Whiskey Dents and Class Carve, I was like, "What do you want for them?" I'm like, "Nah." And I've actually had my brother ask me what I wanted for him. I was like, and he goes, "Where'd you get those slots?" I was like, "What's that?"
Slots are where it's at. That's why. That's hot rod gold.
I'll tell you what, they have they're not rusty or by any means, but they're not brand new. They've got just that little bit of, stank on them that I think they'll be. I rolled them up next to Clyde and I was like, maybe.
Those are the cheater slick. And how wide are the front wheels?
Oh God, they're like 4 in. They're like this wide.
Honestly, that's a perfect gasser wheel right there. That's a perfect put on a 55 Chev with the quarters radius.
Well, and they're 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern.
Yeah, so they're big Ford.
Yep. And the nice thing is on the back of my Roadster, I already have a spacer on there because the rims that are on the back are the wide 5 like that. And my front ones are 4.5. So, I mean, I can put another spacer on the front and I thought about putting those on the black car, but then I just put them in the shed and I'm like, you know what? You're causing too many problems.
Play and forget about you.
Yep. What do we got here? Videos are usually under 500. A few of my shorts are in 1,000 views. Midnight Customs, I don't think anybody knows if we're doing it right.
I have videos do really good that I think are going to do horrible. And then the ones that I think are going to do super good, I get like 200 views on.
Well, I remember the one you did when you were talking about the muscle cars on a budget or classic cars on a budget. I thought that thing was going to crush it. And you said it didn't really do much for you.
Didn't do good at all. No, it didn't do real good at all. I did a video last year on a big motorcycle junkyard. My junkyard videos usually do pretty good. So I did one on a motorcycle junkyard. I'm like, this might get like 5,000 views. Thinking that was going to be really good for that video. Just because my junkyard videos are up here, everything else is way down here.
Yep.
Like 54,000. I mean, it gets...
Oh, really?
It's still climbing. It's been climbing to this day. That was one of my first videos I ever did.
And
it climbs more every 60 minutes than my latest videos do. And
oh, wow.
That has to do with this car, I think, because I introduced it to my channel so late after it was already done. So I just don't have an audience for it. Those videos do horrible. The click-through rate is horrible. But when people click on them, they watch all the way through, so the retention is great.
So I actually show, Peyton's been taking time off from the shop, and I don't blame her, because she's got school and whatnot. But I showed her, like, she'll come in part of the way of the video, and it's like this, and all of a sudden there she is, and it's like, whoop. And then When she dips out, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, because I want to listen to her, not you.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what do I know?
Yeah, I'm struggling with. I think I've got the retention thing pretty good. This is getting the clicks now, and I always think I'm like, man, this thumbnail is gonna freaking crush it.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at like the videos that my videos are being suggested on. I'm like, well, that's not even remotely close to the same genre.
Mm-hmm.
Like my video about the DoD port delete on an LS is being shown on a video about roller coasters. People watching roller coasters don't care about LS motors, let alone the management and displacement on demand of an LS motor. So it's just weird like that hurt me a little bit.
Well, but that short you did, like, went berserk. It's it had like 400,000 views or something.
It will be at that probably by the end of the week. It's still climbing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the comments are funny on it. I don't even know how many comments are on it. I stopped reading them. There's so many.
Well, didn't you say that people were arguing in the comments for you?
Argue with each other. There's people that are on that video. There's one guy that said this guy's doing God's work, and then that guy is a guy saying I'm the worst hack he's ever seen. So you get those two guys together, and obviously people are going to start spouting off. So I'm not even responding to anything. I'm just letting the people take care of it.
Right.
So good or bad, I don't care. So yeah, that one did way better than I thought. I mean, the only reason I posted that is because I sent it to you guys and David posted it. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to, I guess, edit it a little bit better and see if it does better.
Well, I'll tell you, I was ready to put it out with the two of those guys, and I couldn't get it. I just wouldn't save right. And I got it to download, and then I posted it.
Load it, and then.
What's that?
But whenever you download a video off your phone, it just kills the quality of it.
Well, and so I did it here too on my laptop, and no sound. So it's like, well, how in the heck am I gonna do your video with no sound? And Whiskey Dance, do a voiceover. Like, I don't even know what he said.
Talking about, I can't voice over it.
And be like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this thing with a hammer, and I'm gonna get some wheel bearings, and then I'm gonna go. Yep.
My wife said that I need to do more controversial stuff like that.
Yeah. The best part is I think you even called it controversial, didn't you?
What
like
was it?
In the title? Didn't you say it was controversial in the title?
A long form video about it afterwards. And so I put controversial in there, but not in the short. I didn't put that. And actually, I think I changed the title because the click-through rate sucked. So I actually shortened the title up a little bit. So I took that part out.
Okay. Oh. Well, check this out. 615 had a 43,000 views in an hour.
Wow.
Comments. I mean, I had one. This was the funniest thing. It was last fall, and Peyton was had just gotten home from school, and I had been moving stuff around the garage. And she literally goes in the garage and says, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I said, "It's clean." And she goes, "No, it's not." And then I said, "Something came for you in the mail." And she went and it got 50,000 views. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, there's ones that we've had that are what we thought better than that, and they just fell on their face.
Yeah, I don't know the science behind it, man. I really don't. It's just some stuff hits and some stuff doesn't.
Well, and there'll be, I do the two longer videos a week, and the one on Sunday, if I don't do it as a premiere, it kind of goes like this. And if I do it as a premiere, it goes, and then it goes. So I have no idea.
Find that spot, it's just, I know something's going to hit here pretty soon. You know, I mean, I've had some stuff really hit, but, you know, at some point, they're all going to start hitting where they all get the good click-through rate and the good audience retention.
Yep. And
I used
they
to
say,
have
it's
great click-through rate, horrible retention, and it flip-flopped.
yeah.
So,
I have average around that 30 to 35% retention. And I'm like, well, that's better than 20 because that's where it was before. And then
I would say that's still pretty decent, though. I would say that's still pretty. I mean, I would say, man, I've been working to get to 50.
Oh, and and I would normally put out a longer video on Sunday. Well, now I'm trying to stay at 20 minutes or less. I've got a couple that are longer just because the way it came out, you know. Oh, it says he gets more response when he asks a dumb question. Frank,
from the poll. What's he mean by from the poll?
like you can do a poll.
Oh,
where people can,
yeah, like yes or no kind of
yeah.
deal. Yeah. Do you like me? Do you like yes or no?
Well, do you like me? Yes or yes. You don't want to give people the opportunity to tell you no. But yeah, I think Frank has seen our videos. I'm pretty sure that's all the questions I ever ask are dumb.
Yeah. The only things I really talk about are dumb.
Well, I mean, having hot rods is kind of dumb, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably put the money somewhere else.
I was trying to make a point of leaving the dumb stuff in, like, oh, that didn't work, or whatever the case may be, too. So.
Yep. And yeah, Brandon said he makes a video of teaching himself how to build things. Yep. I'll tell you what, and that's kind of like with that last one I did with that that pipe anvil thing. I don't have the room for a big one because I don't. I mean, I've got cars all over the place in there. And so I thought, well, the patch panels I'm going to be making are going to be pretty small. So I don't need a huge one. And let's face it, sheet metal for a body panel is not, a 1/4 inch thick. So that's what I went with. And it seems to be, a decent tool, but that one has, it's got great retention, terrible clicks.
Yeah, see, that's been my problem on everything lately is horrible clicks. And I don't know, maybe I got to try a different color for the wording on my thumbnails, or I don't know. I mean, I try to compare my thumbnails to like some of the big guys, and I feel like my thumbnails are kind of on par. I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, they just show it to the wrong audience. But when you look at the suggested videos, a lot of it is the wrong audience too. So
I was we took the body off of the frame, was being shown to gardening.
Yeah, see, just like my last video getting shown on a video about roller coasters. The top video that had the most clicks from it was a roller coaster video.
Yeah, and I saw the gardening and I was like, no, that's bad. But
it is
a click's a click, I guess. I mean,
but I mean, it's probably our fault somewhere down the road too.
Oh, probably. But what are you gonna do?
So it's just gonna keep getting shown to that crowd if we did something previous.
Yep. And so I figure I'll just keep throwing weird stuff out there till it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, and I do it for fun because if I can maybe pay for some of my hobby out of it, that's cool. It's, I mean, you know how it is. We don't get paid very much doing it.
Hey, I'm
not going to time soon.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm not making pudding fab shop money. I'll tell you that right now. Or Vice Grip or any of those big ones.
I don't even know if I want that though.
No.
I just do it to motivate myself to work on my own stuff. I went through a period where I really was going to sell everything. I was just I was burnt out from cars, burnt out from bikes. It was the summer before I started my channel. I didn't actually work on anything that summer.
Mm-hmm.
And ride my motorcycle, except for maybe twice to work. I just wasn't at all interested in it. I started a YouTube channel, and all of a sudden, boom, now I want to work on stuff so I can make a video, so it kind of like a different kind of motivation, obviously. And it kind of just restored my passion for this stuff is really what it did.
Well, for me, it was doing stuff that my dad showed me that I thought I had forgotten from when I was a kid. Well, like when I did the alignment on the coupe, I mean, I literally drew on the floor with chalk and used a tape measure, and it's pretty close. Is it perfect? Nope. Does it go down the road fine? Yep.
That's how I aligned that car.
But I hadn't done it in who knows how long. It was nice. It's brought me kind of back to that Amazon links to your video.
Oh, affiliate links. Yeah.
Yeah. I did that for a little bit, and I don't know. I mean, kind of like the t-shirts and stuff I did. I was putting ads in. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think I would do some Amazon affiliate stuff like that. And I've thought about it if it's something I'm using in that video.
Yeah.
If I'm making an AN line, I usually use the Evil Energy brand, which is on Amazon. I would maybe do like an affiliate link for that if I'm doing a video of putting that stuff together. So I think something like that would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And I did that cell phone holder magnetic thing video. It was just an email. Hey, you interested? And I was like, sure. I've never had one. I'll try it. And the fact that I actually got it to, I don't know. Yeah. So, a Model A windshield on a coupe, it's got that little slide. That's where I hooked it. So it was literally hooked there. And I mean, that magnet, I'll tell you, my finger got between the magnet and the phone. That was a heck of a pinch. I mean, it was just like, wham. And
there's so much junk mail of like, hey, you want to review this motorcycle product? And it's like a $9 clutch lever for like a Honda Grom.
Well, and I had
the only Devor one for that ultrasonic cleaner, but that's because I was actually going to buy an ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm like, well, yeah, I want one.
Oh, by the way, Bill was telling me that your video helped him make the decision on what to get one.
That's what he was saying on that video too. I should have had him send me a bigger one. I think he ordered the 30-liter one, and mine's like
6 gallon or something. I mean, he ordered a pretty good sized one.
Yeah, mine's like a gallon. So, like, for instance, here's the basket from it. I have one rod and piston in it.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to clean the rods and pistons out of a V8, I'm going to have to do it 8 separate times, which isn't the end of the world. But
isn't that like almost 8 hours?
What was that?
Isn't that like 8 hours of your time or 4 hours of your time?
I had this one in there for a half hour. And this piston's got 300,000 miles on it, probably. And I mean, nice that is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, aside from where I literally ground the top of it, I mean, this rod's junk. Look at how much heat got put in it when I blew it up.
Oh, God.
The rod's great, but it is. I'm glad that I put this in the ultrasonic cleaner because I was going to keep these as spares. I actually was going to put them in that motor just because I knew that the rods and pistons were good.
But with that much heat, they're not going to be what you need.
What was that?
With all that heat that went in there, that's not going to be what you need, right?
So yeah, those are going to be wall hangers. I don't know, make something cool out of them, but they're not going back in a motor.
Look at that. You never get lucky. Just last week they asked me to review. So I got this email from, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, hey, we're doing a campaign on like this mini bike. You interested? I was like, sure, you can send me a mini bike, whatever.
I got that too. They never got back to me.
No. And I said, yeah, this is the one I'd be interested in. Peyton's never ridden anything like that. I see you have training wheels. Can we throw those in? And you know what they did? Crickets.
Yeah. They did
And
this.
Vivor even contacted me again after I did their anvil. And they asked me if I would be willing to do like impact sockets. I was like, yep. And I sent them which one. And then nope, just never got back to me.
Oh.
Well, Brandon, you don't need to make money. I mean, you got that sweet C20. That's all you need. You can do it for the glory. I don't look. Orion Motor Tech gave me an affiliate link. I posted it a couple times. Vivor gave me one. I posted it a couple times. I counted the clicks, and there was never a sale on it. I don't know. I don't need to.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I mean, again, I just really wanted an ultrasonic cleaner.
Hey, I'll tell you, there's like the impact sockets. I was like, yeah, I could really use a bigger set because it had extensions, even had a ratchet with it, so you could use it in place of your chrome ones. And I was super, like, hey, yeah, that'd be great. And then nothing.
No,
But
the speed or someone is listening right now. I'd love to have a 427, but they're not. No, and he just said it perfect. I'm not in it for the money, but I'm not going to about free tools. And that's
and when they said we want to send you a cell phone holder, I was like, hey, yeah. I mean, look, I said I told them as long as you know that if I think it's junk, I'm going to say this is junk. But honestly, I mean, it did everything it was supposed to do, and I haven't. Oh, since you were asking for 427, what is Pete and Jake's? If you got a rolling chassis that you just got laying around and you want me to test it, just give me a call.
I'll take a Brookville 32 body while we're at it.
Yes. 3-window though, because I want the suicide doors, Then you might as well find, might as well put in I want an H&H flathead and a 5-speed and, a quick change rear end. Not that drum brakes are okay.
Not trying to be too picky by any means.
Right. And if you could go ahead and paint it black for me, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I just can't afford the spray paint. So if you could just do it for me, it'd be awesome.
I'll tell you what, depending on what we do on that sedan body, it might be the Turbo Can Special, man. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, though. That's all right. Honestly, with where I'm at financially, everything's getting the Turbo Can Special. I just started a new job a few weeks ago. I haven't made a dime. I've gone 3 weeks. I haven't made a penny. So
really? Well, I know you were doing that lending one, and then you changed.
I'm doing that on the side. So I'm a mortgage side.
Okay.
That's a little slow, but the Fed just dropped rates by 0.5 point today, so that's going to be huge. So I should have some stuff rolling in from there.
Okay.
I left my marine company that I was with selling boats.
Mm-hmm.
I left them to go sell semis. So.
Okay. It looks like Midnight Customs wants a blemish C10 cab if Dynacorn's got one.
Yeah. Again, they're not listening to us, so.
No. And got the old spray can S10 special. Yeah.
All right. If that car wasn't so clean, I would have already spray painted it black. So.
Yeah, but now you're like, the yellow Mustang guy.
That's why I can't paint it. Everybody around here knows my yellow Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I've been threatened with bodily harm if I ever paint Clyde.
Bodily harm if I ever paint that too. Everybody hates the color of it, and nobody will let me paint it.
I would let you paint it. I dislike yellow cars.
I hate yellow cars. I only bought it because it was cheap.
My brother had has a 66 Impala Super Sport 2-door hardtop. And I'll tell you, it was Aztec red, and it was great when he was in high school. And I went to basic training.
Yep.
Painted it yellow when I was in basic training, and it hasn't moved under its own power since 1994. Yeah, and it's yellow. Yeah, and it's, I think, what does he call electric yellow is what the color it is.
This is called chrome yellow. I just call it piss yellow for short.
Yep.
So actually, like trucker piss yellow. It's pretty bright. Like
I don't know what color Clyde is. Reddish, black, gray, rust. I don't know. And Midnight Custom says we are the best YouTube channels they've never heard of.
Right.
Yeah.
I just do this for fun, but maybe that's what makes it good. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. I'm just trying to have fun. So,
and that's the part that I've really started to enjoy. At first I was trying to like, oh, we're going to do this and, be very normal. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I'll go out there and literally kick my tripod 15 times and say how much I hate it, but not use any of the other ones I have.
Yeah.
And then the constantly saying Clyde's junk. I truly mean it. I mean,
so, I mean, and it's a little tough when you're all by yourself and you're filming yourself because you don't have if my wife was in the garage with me, I say the dumbest shit to her. And I think people would love it, but it's always just me out here. So it's a little hard to really show your true colors when it's just you two at the same time.
Nope, that's pretty much me the whole time.
Nope.
I do talk to myself like that and be like, well, let's just do that. Yeah, why not? I've been doing that when I started full-time with the National Guard because the computers would never really work very well. And I'd be like, yeah, let's do that. Let's not work. And so it's kind of one of those things that just evolved into the background noise of my life. And talking to the cars, I do that, especially that my favorite coupe.
Yep.
I don't, you know what? I still haven't figured out why everybody thinks that one's the best one that we have out there. I don't know.
I think everybody just loves coupes.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's
Model A coupes and two-door sedans. I'm not really a roadster guy. I know everybody loves roadsters, but
I just like to feel the wind in my hair.
Well, yeah, there is that.
And sunburn the top of my head.
No, I'm just not really a roadster guy. I don't know. I love looking at them. I just don't want to own one myself. Maybe.
And the sad part is this year it was either too hot to drive it because vinyl seats and I'd burn myself after work, or it was raining.
Yep.
So it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, why do I have it if I'm not going to be able to use it?
Right.
I'd break up Bonnie and Clyde. They're just cars.
Yeah. This thing I don't drive in the rain just because I have so many electronics on it. And I wired this shit myself. I don't know. You probably can't see it in the video, but I've got a fire extinguisher mounted on my roll cage between the seats.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's on there because I'm scared to death to drive this thing without it in it.
Clyde has a fire extinguisher right by the shifter. Yeah.
Yeah. If I built it and I had anything to do with the wiring on it, yeah, you bet I'm having a fire extinguisher on hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Steady Creations, it's like, have a hot rod, they said. Yeah, I do say that a lot. Have a hot rod, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Yeah.
The only people that think having hot rods is cool is the people that don't have one.
Yeah, like, oh, what have you done to this car? I'd be like, well, what haven't I? You know, I will say my black one, I didn't have to do much to it. I changed wheels and tires, and that was the buy once, cry once kind of purchase, you know, and because I wanted one that I could get in and do my thing with. And then Clyde came along, and yeah. And then I was like, oh, you know, I'm in too good of a mood all the time. I should probably have a car I'm going to build. So then we got the sedan.
Well, yeah, and everybody, you know, when I got into cars, I thought it was going to get me chicks. All it did was just have old dudes talk to me at the gas station. It's really,
You know what? The sad part is now I'm that old dude who talks to people at the gas. Like, what year is that?
I'm that old dude at the gas station now. Hey, oh, you had that 55 Chevy. That's a good looking car, you know. Then they look anyways, like this young kid knows what a 55 Chevy is.
Oh, Midnight Customs is buttering me up. Look at that.
They are cool. I'm a Model A guy. I love Model A's. One day I'm going to build a nice Model A. I've got half the stuff to do it. It's just a matter of time and space. And
not having a race car, maybe.
Yeah, that might be part of it. That's why I haven't touched that F100. I mean, this thing's taking up all my energy.
Mm-hmm.
That F100.
Well, I haven't done hardly anything on that sedan.
Mm-hmm. I really want to see that F100 go back to David. I know him and I talked about him trading that back half Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
And I really hope that that's still in the works, because a back half F100 or back half Camaro is, I could make a hell of a small tire race car out of that.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked me, hey, you should take one of your cars down the strip. I'm like, well, my black one would end up in the ditch because of all the lumps and, you know, with the bias play, and Clyde would fall apart.
Yep.
Literally fall apart while I hit the third bump, or I'd need back surgery by the time we were done. And then there's the whole maybe passing tech, which Clyde, no. Bonnie, probably. Oh, when I was young, how parents had all the sweet rides. Yeah, it's because their kids get moved out.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Peyton got pretty lucky that I've always had something ever since she was born.
That's what I want too with my kid. You know, I want her to make a pass in that thing when she's old enough, and you know, I can do less about. But what's going on?
Hi.
Go on.
She's trying to butter me up. She wants something now too.
No, I'm tired.
Oh, you're getting ready for bed?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have kids. So no, you're doing something right. No kids. That means you have money for fun stuff.
Which is all cars.
You know, well, I'm about to get a rude awakening on how expensive they really are here pretty soon.
It's the daycare that's really going to do it.
We don't have to have daycare, luckily, thank God.
Oh, you are lucky. You're saving yourself about $300 a week.
So my in-laws, my father-in-law was getting ready to retire. He was an auto glass guy for some 30 some odd years. He was ready to retire, and they decided, well, we're going to sell the house. We're moving up by you guys. They bought a house 8 miles down the road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
8 miles? That's nice.
My mother-in-law doesn't work, so she's going to watch the baby during the day. Well, I'm going back to the car business, so I'll be working Saturdays, but I'll have a day off during the week. And my wife has Wednesdays off, so really we only need her about 3 days a week, because I'll just take a Tuesday or Thursday every week instead of Wednesday. So we'll have Monday, Tuesday, Friday probably, which is... It's going to suck working Saturdays. I'm going to probably miss out on a lot of racing, but, you know, I'm just doing what I got to do. It is what it is, so...
Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, I re-enlisted in the service in 2011 after being out for almost 10 years. I missed a lot of stuff, just from being gone for drill and being gone extra for schools and that stuff. But the long run, We had Peyton's going to come walking through. Yep. But in the long run, we had better health insurance, during that, and there's going to be extra income later. But I mean, I wouldn't trade any of that. I mean, I'd trade to have some of those things I missed back, but it was, you got to do what you got to do. And that's why, I've been, my wife's not feeling well. So Peyton just,
Yeah.
no idea what I was going to say, but something.
Were they pretty picky when you re-enlisted back in that era?
In 11?
Yeah.
Well, I still had to go through the whole physical and, all that stuff. And
That's true.
there she goes again. Yeah, I mean, I still had to pass all the same entrance that I did in 93 when I enlisted. I didn't have to duck walk this time, which was nice because, just thinking about that hurts my back and my knees. But I still had to do all the same stuff. And then I didn't have to go back to basic training. But now if you're out more than 3 years, it's 2 or 3 years, you have to go back to basic.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to do that. And, I was in my mid 30s by that point. And so could I have put up with the yelling at me and all that stuff? Sure. Because I know it's just a kind of a mind game, tear you down, build you up, make you a team. But
Right.
I don't know. I'd probably just be like, come on. The floor looks just as good as it did the day we got here.
Yeah. I tried hard to get in. And so the Marines wouldn't take me because I had tattoos below the elbows.
That's not a thing now.
Yeah, nowadays I know it's different. This was 09, right into high school era.
Yep.
And my stepdad was Iraq from 2003 until 2009. So that's what I wanted to do. He would come home for a few weeks and get restless and just go back.
Yep.
But he wouldn't take me because I actually cut my big toe off when I was in high school.
Oh.
I talked to a recruiter with my stepdad, and I told my stepdad what I wanted to do. So he helped me. I had a contract set up where I had an option 40 contract. So I was going to at least have the opportunity to go to, at that point, I think it was still RIP, Ranger. And it was an option 40 contract, they called it. They went, I went to MEPS. They wouldn't take me because of my amputated big toe. And the Navy wouldn't take me. I tried the Army again when I was like 22, 23. Tried the Army again at like 25, and they just wouldn't take me.
Because of your toe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's one finger you can be missing completely, and that's this one on your left hand.
Okay.
I can't remember if you can be missing, but you can't be missing any of your right index finger.
Okay, which makes sense.
Yep. So you can't, and this is like a, kind of a angle, but you can't be missing any toes, like any of them. Even if you're like a middle toe, maybe you're born without it. It's too bad. You're not going to get there from here, kind of thing.
Yeah,
they're pretty picky about that stuff.
I tried hard, man, because having a stepdad that was in it the whole time, getting his GWAT on, I'm like, man, I just want to get my GWAT on. And I guess looking back, maybe it's probably good that I didn't.
I did 20 years, and I never deployed. I never had to. It was just I was on rosters to go. And something would come up where the position they were going to have me in changed, or they just canceled it or whatever. And so I did 20 years without deploying. And, now it's not as common, but when I first enlisted, 93, there was people 20 years didn't do anything, like, didn't go overseas. And it, I don't regret, I don't miss not being deployed, overseas. Because my dad went to Vietnam, and my good buddies here have been deployed, multiple times, and they can struggle with some stuff, and I'm okay that I didn't, and it plus that I can make fun of them, like their TBIs and that stuff. I make fun of them. My New Year's resolution is to not blow up every year, so still doing fine.
You're on good pace so far.
Yep, because especially I'm going to retire at the end of the year.
Yeah. Now my stepdad. Well, when did we start pulling out? Well, I guess when did they pull contractors out of Iraq? My stepdad was a contractor.
They pulled out of there, and
Blackwater got kicked out in 08, right?
Oh, yeah, 08, 09, something like that. Yeah.
Our square incident.
I think it was, I want to say like
at the Nassau Square incident. That's when he lost his job.
Okay. I think it was like 15 or 16 that we came out of Iraq.
Yeah.
And then of course, we came out of Afghanistan very smoothly. Some of our guys from our battalion were there. They had been over in the Middle East for deployment, and they got one of the companies got pulled to go to that, and they said it was just a mess.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine, yeah.
But nobody got hurt, and that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
From the battalion here anyway. People got hurt there, but it's none of our guys. They lost, they didn't lose anybody, which is great. Mm-hmm. And then they came back and finished up their Mideast, deployment and came home.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I had such a hankering to go to the Middle East, man, from the time I was like 13 years old. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because if you think about it, from 2001 up until 2020, 22, that's all we were doing. It was all over the TV. It was all over the news. It was all over everything.
That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to jump out of an airplane with nods on. And from the time I was 12, 13 years old, that's just what I wanted to do. So
I had a chance to go to airborne and air assault, but I had hurt my back, so I didn't get to go.
Oh.
I'm okay with that too, actually, because my knees I already have a bunch of arthritis in my knees and stuff. I don't need more of that.
There's no way I'm still technically young enough where if I didn't have other things, I probably could, but I broke my back 13 years ago now, 12 years ago, and it still gives me issues.
Well, I'll tell you now, if you thought about going back in, they have this system where it shows every.
I was get in, but.
Oh, I would just say if you tried, they have this thing called Genesis, and it goes back to when you were a kid, everything. And if you broke your back, they'd be like, "Ooh, nope."
Well, because grew up on dirt bikes. I've broken this collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I've broken once. One of them I've broken twice. I don't remember which. Or no, one of them I broken 3 times.
Jeez.
My back, my shoulder blade, my elbow. I broke my elbow. That's a weird one.
That is a weird one.
And most of them were from stupid stuff. My buddy and I were carrying a paddle boat, and he dropped it on my elbow. That's what broke it. It's just stupid things. My back was snowmobile crash. So a lot of weird ones. I wake up pretty hurt now. So yeah, there's no way I could ever even thinking about doing something like that. So
yeah, I'll tell you, I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I didn't wait any longer than 33 going back in. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, I can't do it anymore because I'm at 49, when I retire, I'm very elderly. I'm Army 80, basically. So I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just too much on the old bones.
Yeah. Midnight Customs broke his back in 2016. Yeah, he knows exactly how it is. Well,
3
he's
surgeries too. Jeez.
ugh. I probably should have surgery, but I've been putting it off well over 12, 13 years, whatever it's been, because I just know how much it sucks. I've got good days and bad days with it though. You know, like if I'm leaning over the fender of my car, I'll like lock up.
Yeah.
I could probably jump off the roof of my house right now and land on one foot and be just fine. It's weird. I don't, you know, like that's not going to hurt me, but leaning over that, working on something for 25 minutes is.
You know, I've found that that's why a lot of time I'll sit down like on that rolling chair, because if I've got a back and knee and other issues, I find if I sit down, it's better, but still it can get to just be too much where I'm just like, you know what, I'm done. So there's like some videos you'll see I've got like 4 different shirts on because it's 4 different days. Because
little rolly chair too. That thing's sweet, but I can only work on so much with that thing.
Yeah. Well, I have no fenders, so I mean I can get at just about everything without having to stand up too much. But
my next place will have a shop, so I can just roll around on a shop stool underneath everything.
I'll tell you, I'd love to have about 20 more feet on my garage with a lift, and that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I could just I love my house. If I could add on in any way, I would. But skinny quarter-acre lot, I can't go any more sideways. I can't go any longer.
Okay.
So if I want any more space at all, let's move to a different house.
Well, we moved out here. It's all one level, and you know, because this is where we don't want to have to go up and down stairs. It was what we had for the other house, but the attached garage is big enough for our 2 vehicles, but the detached is needs to be expanded.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife and I too, we decided the next place is probably going to be all one level so we don't have to move again. You know, I'm so beat up that, you know, sometimes I've got a hard time going up the stairs, and she's got fibromyalgia. So she's got good days and bad days with that. So we just need to do one level living at this point.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty nice. And the person that the older couple we got it from, so it's partially handicap accessible. So some of the doors are wider. We have a Whirlpool tub that we don't use because I mean, I'd look, if I got in there, I'd probably get stuck because my arthritis would be happy until it got cold.
Wait, I want to hear about Brandon's deal because he said that without his surgery, he was paralyzed.
Yeah.
Without the surgery, I couldn't even walk or even sit up. Damn, man. Yeah. I mean, obviously at that, you probably want to have it. Wonder how that happened. Yeah, he broke his back way worse than I broke mine. That's for sure. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, if he couldn't move around.
Yeah.
We've been on here almost. We're heading on to 2 hours. Believe that? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Working you.
I hope they paid you a bunch of dough. I know I'd want a bunch of dough if I got hurt at work.
Oh, yeah. Brandon sent me some pictures of what he's doing, and so I'm just sending him like a picture of my wall from my office.
Yeah. His post on YouTube the other day that he posted a picture of his truck hauling like a bridge beam or something like that.
Yeah.
said he wasn't making videos for a couple weeks. So that's cool though. That's a cool job.
Oh, here we go.
That's cool.
At least they did that.
That's something. That's cool.
Yeah.
What time is it anyways? It's got to be going on 9 o'clock.
It's 8:45.
Okay.
We should probably maybe wrap it up, huh?
Probably think about starting to get this baby dresser together.
You know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I never really wanted kids, and then Peyton came along, and I'll tell you what, having a daughter is pretty cool.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, everybody's like, "Well, I want a boy." I want, you know, like I'll tell you what, man. You you sure learn quite a bit about yourself.
I'm
You
sure.
know?
I got my mouth, and I do my best to censor myself on YouTube, man. But I talk like a drunk sailor at noon.
I
Yeah,
know exactly what you mean.
I say pretty nasty, off the wall stuff.
Well, being that I've been at the county now for almost 10 years, and then being in the service where you can say whatever you want about whatever. Coming back from, you know, be gone for a month or whatever, or even gone when I did some active duty orders and I'd be gone for a year or, you know, 9 months or whatever. And I'd have to watch. I mean, I'd be dropping F-bombs every other word. And the family was like, "Are you ever going to not say that word?" I'm like, you know, what the F are you talking about?
Oh.
Like, you said it like 10 times in 5 sentences.
I didn't even realize it.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta quit smoking cigarettes too, because I'm at a point now where, I mean, just the other day I was at work and I was just talking to somebody in the front office and I just lit a cigarette, didn't even think anything of it. Smoking in the building. They're looking at me like, "What are you doing?" "I don't know. What are you talking about?" "You're smoking in the building." "Oh, damn." And forget about it. I've done that. I'm sitting on the showroom at the car dealership, sitting at my desk and just fire up a heater.
Yeah.
"Oh, what the hell are you doing? You got to go outside." So
You're lucky they didn't fire you, or, you know.
I got to just quit smoking altogether because
it says it's bad for you on the box.
it does say it's bad for you on the box. Yes, cigarette smoke contains carbon monoxide, so I would say that's not real good for you.
You know what? If you get that one or the pregnancy one, you're pretty good. You got to stay away from the cancer ones on the label.
Okay, yeah. So as long as I don't smoke the ones that have the cancer Surgeon General's warning, I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah, I can just die.
Low birth weight and stuff. That's not you.
Yeah. So
Is it? Yeah, Tim. This is one of the designs on the
deal.
on the stuff, the store. I've got Brandon says you got to quit chewing. They say it causes mouth cancer. Same thing. You just got to look for the ones that say no cancer. It isn't cancer. You're fine.
No more lip pillows.
And the best one I ever saw was, it said, "Smoking can kill you." That was the best warning I've ever seen. I think I even I cut it out and put it on my college apartment door.
Oh.
You can't see it. If you've seen the Whiskey Dents one, it's the same one, Tim. It's just this guy.
Your name is kind of covering up.
Oh, is it? There.
Yeah.
Need to find someone to design me some stickers. Just go on to the makestickers.com and just edit one. That's all I do.
Yeah, I need to make stickers too.
Yeah, because I don't have one on the cabinet of fame out there.
I have nothing, man. I shut my Shopify down, so I have no merch, no stickers, no nothing.
I think I'm gonna pick, you know, I'm gonna narrow down the designs, and I mean, it's fun to have, you know, 4 or 5 different ones. I will say that people really like that hot rod sales and service one. I think didn't I send you that one?
I've got one of them.
Yeah, people like that design, and I thought maybe I'll just keep that. Well, behind my beard. Oh man.
That's great.
And I mean, honestly, I can go and I can design these things for free, download them, and
Yeah. How do you design it? Like, do you have a software that you use?
No, I'll send you the link that I used. I literally typed in like free logo maker or something like that, and I just found one that I could actually download it.
Okay, I got you.
And I downloaded so there's there's nothing around it, no color, and then I can plunk it into into that store on the Spreadshirt, and then I just pick which ones I want.
Okay.
Tim's been telling me he's gonna send me stickers for like a year.
You use Shopify then?
Yeah, I use Spreadshirt because it doesn't cost me anything, at all, and they do it. They do everything. They do it all. I mean, they literally I upload the design I want and pick the products I want it on, adjust and
Okay.
and then I can change the prices if I want. Like I dropped a t-shirt like this was like $25 or something. And so I just went in and dropped it down to 20, and you get a percent. I think on a t-shirt, I get $2, cause I dropped the price. And on the hats, I dropped the price. And, if somebody wants to spend some money and buy a t-shirt or a hat, hey, cool, man. Other than that, like I sent you and a t-shirt, and I gave David and Chris t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it's cool that when I see that someone has it on, I'm like, oh, they're actually, I've got stickers and t-shirts in Arizona and Idaho and the East Coast, and I'm like, hey, that's cool. And I sent one to a guy in California when we were doing that Stacy David what are you working on tournament.
Yep.
He because I would share it to TikTok and Instagram, and I was doing it all the time. He saw it and he was reposting it and doing all this. And so I sent him, I said, hey, can you, said, I get it if you don't want to send me your address. Found out he was a Marine. So then we were, we spoke the same language, and he sent me his address, and I sent him a t-shirt, and he wore it to work. And he works with kids, and his kid goes, my dad watches that channel.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah. So there was a couple times I got recognized, but they were both in the same day.
Oh,
But I was like, whoa, dude. Like, did my channel explode overnight? Is this not catching up yet? But yeah. It was just a weird deal. Once at the gas station, guy's like, hey, do you have a yellow Mustang by chance? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I just watched a video last night, and I swear it was you. You blew up some yellow Mustang. It was the video I made about blowing, when I blew it up.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, you saw that? That's cool. I posted it like 2 days before or something like that. He's like, yeah, that sucks, man. Maybe put a Ford motor in it next time. I thought it was funny, but
I got recognized at the Grand Rapids Car Show swap meet thing, and he didn't come up and say, like, hey, I've seen you, YouTube channel. He's like, you must be Peyton's dad. And I was just like, what?
Yep.
Scared the hell out of me. I'm like, how do you know that? And then we got one. I usually get someone who I'll be in like buy a tool or whatever. Like I'm working on my car. Like, oh, what are you working on? And I'll show them. And they're like, I've seen that car before. I'm like, well, I've had it here and here. They're like, no, I think I've seen it like on TV. And I'm like, well, we have a YouTube channel. Like, aha, it's more they recognize the car than, some old bald guy.
Yeah. See, I haven't really driven that thing enough aside from to work and back.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of people that I run into that recognize the car because it goes to the same Quick Trip every day next to work.
Yeah.
Goes to the parking lot at work. And then it drives home on just a back road.
Mm-hmm.
See about 4 cars on the way to work and on the way home.
Oh, Tim has sent me a picture of his sticker that he's been wanting to send me for a year.
I've been meaning to put it in the mail.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, here, check this out." Yeah, this is what he sent. This is what he put in the comments. It was a year ago, Tim. I've saved your spot. I saved your spot on Peyton's toolbox.
I promise you, the check's in the mail, brother.
Yeah. Oh, and remember, I was going to send you a yellow sticker for your Mustang.
Yeah.
I didn't because it had though I had one yellow one left and it fell on the floor of my car and I ended up stepping on it and it got wrecked.
Oh, that's all right.
But I still, when I do another yellow one, I'll send one to you. Because you said it was either like a sticker or it was like $5,000 a race or something like that for a sponsor. And I was like, well, I have a sticker.
Well, it's a $5,000 lifetime deal or an enclosed car trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's lifetime. So
that's lifetime? Well, I mean, it's a thought.
Yeah, well, it's as long as I own the car. So, I mean, it's personally, if I want next day.
So now he's picked. It hasn't been a year yet. Well, 9 months. It's a year. Look, I was 47 when he said it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just like picking on him. But yeah, this has been good. This was a good. We started off talking about how you got started with cars, and then we ended up like you lost your toe, and I think we covered everything.
Pretty much, yeah. At the end of the day, it is kind of how I got into cars, was just dirt bikes and snowmobiles, and it then dirt bikes snowballed into Harleys, and actually snowballed into crotch rockets.
Did it?
I got super hurt on one of them, and it snowballed into Harleys.
I just blame my dad because he always liked old cars, and we always had them around, and they were cheap, so that's what I drove. And the Barracuda was the first one that ever built, and I built that with my dad, and it took us. I got it in August of '87. It came back from the paint shop on Christmas Eve, and then we finished putting it together the next summer. So that was the first one I'd ever really built. I mean, I could have told you where I got every piece of that car. I mean, I got the front clip off a station wagon and cutting the 1/4 panel off in a junkyard, and
Oh, speaking of junkyards, so actually kind of what got me into that's another thing that snowballed into cars. So I grew up 2 miles from a pretty big junkyard. I used to ride my bike up there when I was like 12, 13, 14. I just like looking at stuff. And the guy that owned the junkyard he actually was a dirt track racer for years.
Okay.
And God, if Josh is watching this right now, he's going to correct me instantly. I think he ran a few Ford Torinos that he built stock cars out of.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and a couple of 68, 69, 70 era Chargers. Back you could buy them for $500.
Right. Now you can't even buy anything for $500.
No. And he had them all in his junkyard. And I mean, he had GTOs back there. He had some first generation RX-7s. He had Chevelles, Mopars, all sorts of cool stuff. And I think walking through there kind of got me super into cars too. And then when he died, his wife had everything crushed. Everything.
Oh man.
Yeah. When we were in high school, Josh had bought actually quite a few cars from him. From the yard. I think Josh bought a Torino from him that was not a stock car.
Mm-hmm.
I think he bought a Pontiac Tempest from him. Yeah, he always had really cool stuff coming in and out of there. And I used to ride my bike up there, and he'd let me walk around there all day. So I think just being around that environment too was kind of a big part of it.
Our neighbor had a salvage yard. Like our next door neighbor had one, and my dad knew a lot of the old guys. Well, they were the old guys when I was a young guy, so a little bit older than my dad. And there's one, his name was George, and junkyard's gone, and so is he. But he had a dog named Dog, and it was a yellow lab mixed with a basset hound. Okay. So picture a yellow lab, like a full-size yellow lab with legs this big.
Yeah, that's a goofball looking dog for sure.
And I'll tell you what, sweet dog, but oh my God, the dog's name was Dog. I mean, like I remember going there, it was like, George, what's your dog's name? He's like, Dog. So, yep, and Dog would just walk with you. Oh. But there's some junkyards, around here there's a few that aren't too far away from where I live. So I was thinking I would try to get into one before it gets snowy. But I'd like to go back down to that one that I had that video on, but because I was trying to make a deal with him on a couple of those cars, but he really liked them more than than I did, apparently. And I was going to help him set up his YouTube channel, and we texted back and forth about it a little bit, and just nothing. So,
yeah, I got to find more junkyards too, man. I mean, I've hit all of the ones that are within like a 2-hour radius of me a few times. So,
yeah. Well, there's 1, 2, 3 within about half an hour of me.
See, I would be road trip up that way on like a Sunday or something like that and hit some junkyards. That would be super cool.
Yeah. Well, I'd like. What's that?
Find more private yards where you can see fleet stuff. A lot of the junkyards now, everything is so picked over. It's great.
Like that one I went to with all that cool old stuff.
Yeah,
most of it was complete.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the motor. Well, I mean, even those Model A rollers, like they had their engine and transmission, and they had all the rods for the brakes. I mean, it was complete.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't find that stuff anywhere anymore.
No.
You don't find stuff. I mean, I remember it was only 20 years ago you could go to a junkyard and find complete Mopars that still had all the glass and everything in them. And that just doesn't exist anymore. The only thing that's left is like part of a crinkled roof section and one quarter panel laying in the weeds.
There was that first gen Charger. I've wanted one since I was 13. Oh. And at some point I will have one, or I'll have another first gen Barracuda. But, and I saw it. I mean, I saw just out of the corner of my eye, I was like first gen Charger, and it was literally a parts car at that point. Like you could cut stuff off of it.
Yeah.
But the core sport was wrinkled up and the inner fenders were wrinkled up, and they took all the good stuff off it and left the rest of it for dad.
You'd have pretty ambitious to put that together.
Well, yeah, because where are you going to find the parts? They don't even repop them,
Yeah.
Well, they do for 68 and up, but not those.
I know where there's a pretty nice early Barracuda. That's at it's in one of my videos. You'd have to watch it. It's either Roner's Auto Parts or Windy Hill Auto Parts. I don't remember, but there's an orange one that's a fastback.
Yeah, 64 through 66 That's the first year. I had a 66, and I. Hey, Robert, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't. It was white. Mine was white. Had a black stripe. Had white and tan interior. Had the Commando 273. If you see like on my shop wall behind me, that it's like a chrome can that says Commando 273. That's the original air cleaner off of it, and in good shape. That those things are worth a while. So it hangs on my wall, and it's been. I will have another one. It just that I keep buying Model A's, and then I can't. Every time one comes up, I've already got my money tied up somewhere else.
I know that's my problem too. And then, now if I buy another project, then I feel bad because I'm neglecting that car. And then if I have, once I get something else done, I'm going to feel bad that I'm neglecting that car because I'm working on this. I feel like I need to focus on one thing, but I get way too bored. I can't. So I think what I'm going to start doing, I'm just going to start saving again. And I think I'm just going to start cycling through nice muscle cars. Stuff that runs and drives, that are clean, that I can just get really excited about changing out wheels and tires and suspension stuff, and then drive it, dust out of it, get into the next one. 78, 79 Firebirds, you can buy them things fairly cheap. You can probably drive one home for $7,500.
Yeah.
Got nice wheels on it, put some nice tubular control arms on it, some coilovers, and change the exhaust out, clean the interior up on it, drive it around, sell it for 14, 15 grand.
Yep.
And then just cycle on to the next one and just do the simple, easy stuff like that. I don't know if, aside from maybe building another drag car, I don't think I have any desire to do a full build on a car again. At least not.
Yeah.
No,
This sedan is going to take me a long time.
Yeah. Well, if I build on something, it would be a Model A. Those are a lot. Granted, nothing is easy, but those are easier than muscle cars and things like that. There's a lot less to it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I built a gantry out of lumber, and I can pick up a body. Can't do that with a muscle car,
No, exactly. Josh and I have built 4 Model A's in this garage. His Model A coupe, I think he built in 90 days.
When he was selling that 32, I was like, hey, you can store it up here. He goes, well, storage isn't the problem. I was like, yeah, you're not getting what I'm saying here, man. Like, just hand it to me.
Yeah, I think he found a way to where he can keep that. Because that was like his old Maverick that he built kind of came back into the picture, and he needed the money to buy that, but I think he found a way to so that was the main thing. But he just got a Model T last weekend too. He had a Volkswagen dune buggy, and some guy from Iowa traded him a Model T sedan with a 6-cylinder, like 235 Chevy motor in it, a turbo 3.
Sweet.
And it's just he's been daily driving it because it just drives like a new car. He's been daily driving it to work and back, and he's got like a hour-long commute. Just
probably gets 25 miles a gallon with that 235 too.
Yeah, Oak's super bad. He's got to check the oil all the time, but he said it drives absolutely mint. It probably drives better than his Ford Ranger he drives. So, yeah, the nicest truck he owns is that Ford Raptor. That thing never gets driven because it's too nice.
Well, he drove it up here.
Drives it all. Yeah, it's kind of his car hauler truck.
Yeah, you need a Raptor you need a tow pig.
Well, I talked him into buying a Raptor. So yes.
Oh, well. How about this? I was in my shop and I heard his truck, and I was like, "That has to be him."
Yep.
And yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Troublemaker looks like. I haven't seen it. He hasn't sent me any pictures recently, so.
He hasn't really been working on it a lot. Did you I know I sent you a picture of it with
Yep, with the motor in it.
He's got.
I think he sent me one with interior.
Yeah. So have you ever heard of the? God, it's a famous 32 Roadster from back in the day that was built in California.
Roadster.
The Kennedy Brothers 32. Have you ever heard of the Kennedy Brothers Roadster?
Maybe. I mean, it's probably one of those you'd be like, oh yes, that's it. Yeah.
I'll send you pictures of it. But a guy from Minnesota owns the car now.
Yeah.
Still in kind of original condition as to how it was built in the 50s.
Okay.
And the seat that's in Troublemaker is the seat from that Kennedy Brothers Roadster.
Sweet, man.
Oh.
Well, when he was, I'll tell you what, he laid out the whole build for me while we were like counting money and signing title and all that stuff.
Oh.
He's like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And I was like, I would love to do all those things too. And then it wasn't that long after I sold it, I bought this sedan. And I was like, boy, if I'd have just waited, I could have built this Roadster. But
well, that Roadster needed a lot of body work.
Yeah, it did. Oh yeah, it did.
It's pretty much all the body work's done now, and he kind of patinaed all the stuff that he had patched so it all matches. So it looks good. But yeah, he's taken a break from that because he's been working on other stuff. He bought a 70 El Camino. Actually, so this is a weird story. He bought a 70 El Camino Christmas Eve from a crackhead for $800 this last year.
That is the best way I think anybody could get a 70 El Camino.
At like midnight, and it drove onto a trailer and everything. Midnight from a crackhead, like 4 miles down the road for $800. Couldn't pass it up. Didn't even do with it because he's not into El Caminos, especially ones that are a huge project like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, long story short, he sold it to his stepdad, and his stepdad's been working on it. Well, Josh spent some time putting quarters on that car for him in exchange for, I think, going to get this model. I don't know. They're always horse trading stuff back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
With that El Camino, his house, I don't know if his house blew up and killed him and his whole family like a couple months ago or something like that. No, they had propane heaters in the house, and they all died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, whole family.
Mm-hmm.
This crackhead guy, because they had no heat, no electricity, nothing. I mean, yeah, weird deal. But anyway, so yeah, Josh has been working on that El Camino for his stepdad, and he's been working on that 32. He's been working on his Maverick. He's just got so much stuff going on. He's got so much.
Plus his shop that he has.
Yeah, he's got 4 hot rods now. That's crazy.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, he does the tattoo shop, right?
Yeah. He doesn't own that. He's an employee there.
Yeah, I mean, like he's working there.
Self-employed, but he works through there. Yeah, that's living his tattoos.
Busy.
Yep. So yeah, I've learned a lot of stuff from him, man. He helped me do the cage in my car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a pretty good fabricator, so he's helped me out a lot with that stuff and showing me a lot of cool tricks, you know. So,
yep.
Yeah, but I don't know how he does it, man. Him and his wife are just on a perfect schedule. She goes to bed at like 8 o'clock. He puts their kid to bed at 9, and he's out in the shop from 9 o'clock till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning every night.
Jeez.
Working on something. So
and his Model A coupe that's similar colored to mine, when he showed me a picture, it had yellow headlights like mine, and we decided they were cousins.
Yeah, that car's on a Bowling Brothers frame too.
Yep. Yeah. When I did the video and I said that he sent me a text, he's like, if you put Clyde on that, they will definitely be related.
100%.
I'll tell you, part of the reason why I'm holding off on that sedan is because I kind of want to take the coupe apart and I kind of want to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But then am I taking the Clyde out of Clyde? You know, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I would just build a whole fresh car out of it. That's just me. I don't know. It depends on your space and financial situation too. To take on a whole nother project like that is
Wow. I mean, I've got no time frame to do that. I want to get it done, and I've been collecting parts up for it, and I've already got the wheels. I've got a set of tires out in the shed. So I've got brakes. I've got a front axle. I've got 2 rear axles. I've got that 8-inch, and then I've got that 10 rear end. And so, I mean, a lot of the big expensive stuff I've got. I don't have an engine or a transmission, but let's face it, if I do a small block Chevy like it's set up for, I can find one tomorrow.
okay.
I could probably find one tonight if I looked, And
I'm willing to bet that I own one somewhere.
yeah. And and brakes, I've got a whole set of front brakes, 3 sets of juice brakes for the front axle. The ones for the S10 rear end have been redone. I mean, so it's kind of going to be, adult Legos at some point. And I have to figure out what rear end suspension I'm going to do. Am I going to do, parallel 4-bar? Am I going to do ladder bars? Am I going to do a triangulated 4-link? Am I going to put a buggy spring on it? Or, and so until I come up with some of those answers, I haven't done.
Well, I promise you, whatever rear suspension design you decide to go with is wrong.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't really matter at this point. It's wrong regardless.
Right.
So.
I mean, I've got it set up for coilovers, but I know that there's a few. I mean, I think Pete and Jake's even they make where you can cut that out and you can put they have the pocket for a buggy spring if I want to go that route, and some even make a kit for where you can, mount it kind of beside or just behind that bar, and I don't know. That's why I haven't taken the axle into the garage. That's why for the front axle, that's why I haven't done any of that stuff.
It's really just a matter of deciding, or not even deciding. Like, you could honestly just flip a coin and say, get a triangulated 4-link, just start burning stuff in.
And that's why I got that other welder, because my flux, the 110s, they're good for 3/16, but every one of those kits is 1/4 inch or more, and Midnight Customs actually said, hey, that because he has the same arc captain, he goes, I've welded up to a 1/2 inch and it hasn't had any problems. I'm like, well, okay. So, and I got 220 put in out in the shop now. So
I'm putting 220 out here because I want to get a TIG welder set up.
Yep. And that one will do TIG, stick,
really?
Gas. Yep. It'll do, and if you want to, it'll do aluminum with the spool gun.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll do that. It's got the stinger for stick. You can use flux core, gas weld, and then it's got lift TIG. And $349 on Amazon right now.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No, and forgive me, I don't know much about TIG welder stuff.
I don't either. I want to learn how to do it.
Well, I've done it a few times, but isn't there, and if Midnight Customs is watching, he probably knows because he's a little bit more of a fabricator. Isn't there a certain type of TIG that you need to be able to do stainless, aluminum, all that?
Yeah. And
I don't really understand that portion of it. I know
I'd have to look at the manual on that one, but I know it has all those functions and the spool gun if you want to do like TIG, or not TIG, but MIG.
MIG aluminum.
Aluminum. And of course, you have to buy all these extra things. So
yeah, you're not going to get all that for $350. There's no way.
Nope, you get the stinger for the stick, and you get, of course, the MIG gun, which I'll tell you what, that thing, that cable is like this thick. It is heavy duty, and it comes with a whole bunch. It comes with like 3 of the dies to run the wire through. It'll hold 10-pound wire, 10-pound spool of wire, and it comes with a gas line, no regulator, but comes with a gas line. I haven't got a tank yet, but I plugged it in. I plugged that into the 220, and it was just zinging right along. And then something I really like is it has a spot function. You can just, so when you squeeze it, it just, and then it shuts itself off. So you can just.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect for doing quarter panels and stuff.
Yep. And I had some sheet metal that's basically like, car body sheet metal. And I was just fiddling with because I put it on, if you put it on sync and you put, okay, I'm using this wire or this thickness of wire and I'm using flux and whatever, it kind of sets it for you and it'll let you go plus or minus 3 on each one, the 2 of the amps and the volts. And then it sets your wire speed for you. And so I turned it all the way down and it, with the 220, and it just, a nice little, I'll send you pictures of it. I mean, it didn't blow through at all. And I mean, I was just zinging right along.
Yeah, that's good to know.
But yeah, $350 on Amazon. Like I saw it today on there, because that's where I got mine.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to.
I've been pleased with it. And both the girls even, I mean, I set it up and we had it plugged into 110.
Broke kid, so.
What's that?
The price is right up my alley. I'm a broke kid, man. I'm trying to ball on a budget over here,
Me too. But the girls, Peyton really liked that spot function, and Melissa she ended up welding up she likes me to take, junk and make stuff out of it. Well, she ended up welding up the last welds on the project that she wanted done with it. So they both thought it was great.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. I hate to cut us short. We've only been on here for 2.5 hours, but
yeah, I don't think we're cutting it short at this point, man. Because we were talking about half an hour ago, shutting her down.
I gotta get this dresser back together before I go to bed in half hour.
Oh yeah, because I'll be in bed in a half an hour, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But I'll send you just some of those tomorrow. I'll send you some of those pictures of the spots just so you can see what it did.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, and yeah, Amazon is where I got mine.
Okay, awesome.
Cool, man.
Sounds good, man. Well, hey, appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, this was a good time.
All right, we'll see you later, man.
All right, see ya. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.